Well, joining us in the studio, we have Kevin Poulter, an employment lawyer at Bertram Dyson Bell and social media commentator. I mean, this is pretty heartwarming stuff, isn't it, from Facebook, really, isn't it? Do you think it's actually going to have an impact on future generations?
Well, I want to make the world a better place. Now, who wouldn't want to have that on their epitaph? It's what a fantastic thing to do, and some people have the power to do it, and I think Mark Zuckerberg is one of those people. Incredible wealth, but also an incredible mind. And maybe he has got the power to do that. Maybe with a bit of cash behind him, he will do that. But yeah, absolutely.
But he's only 30. I mean, arguably he's at a very early stage in his career. Even though Warren Buffett has suggested that 30 is the new 70 when it comes to philanthropy, do you get any sense that maybe he's doing this a little bit too soon?
Well, we're not all in that privileged position. And I know that I would be concerned with myself, I think, probably first at that stage, as I was. But what a great position. I don't think we need to worry about Mark Zuckerberg. I think he's going to be fine. He's got lots of other things going on, lots of assets to rely on. And actually, we don't know too much about his wife or about her financial state of affairs. So I don't think we need to be too concerned there.
Now, Facebook's reached something like 1 billion users a day, an incredible amount of people using it. But Zuckerberg has been criticised in the past for using sort of charitable notions of charity to boost Facebook's dominance. Do you think this could be, in a way, another example of that?
I don't know.
Too cynical?
Possibly, but the internet.org, for example, building communities, taking technology to remote parts of the world, to Africa. Of course, there's an incentive for him to spread the broadband around the world, because it means more people coming to his website. But this is looking at different things. Yes, it's about building communities. Yes, it's about technology, but we're also looking about healing things, about cures. And I think that that's much more altruistic than perhaps previously, where his criticism has been directed.
And then there's the fact that he's a new dad, a dad for the first time. He's planning on taking 2 months of parental leave. We know that big tech companies are kind of outbidding each other in terms of like generous employee benefits to win employees. Is this a harbinger, do you think, of things to come for paternal leave rather than just parental leave?
Well, it's interesting, because we'll talk about Yahoo in a moment, but famously, the CEO of Yahoo took very little maternity leave. And I think that if you're a company like this, you have fantastic officers, you have the breakout rooms, you have the ping-pong table. Why not extend that to employee benefits more financially, but also in terms of family-friendly initiatives?
Okay. Kevin Poulter, thank you very much for your thoughts. More from you a little later.
OK, well, staying on the theme of rich people and philanthropic enterprises, we're shifting focus to climate change. It's often said we won't get the changes we need to tackle global warming unless we recruit billionaire business leaders to the cause.
Well, now it would appear the cavalry is on its way. Bill Gates has rounded up several of his well-heeled friends to form what he calls the Breakthrough Energy Coalition. Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg is among them. So too is Amazon's Jeff Bezos. And the Microsoft founder told delegates at the climate change conference in Paris that making vital reforms now makes sense for the planet and for the economy.
2 initiatives we're launching here, the increased governmental research and the private investment, are to address climate change and to reduce the cost of energy, to reduce poverty. We need to move to sources of energy that are even cheaper than the hydrocarbon energy we use today. We need it to be not only clean, but also reliable.
Well, from tech industry winners to a pioneer who seems to have lost its way. Now, the board of the troubled internet firm is reportedly mulling the sale of its core internet business. The move comes amid a broader debate about the future of Yahoo and that, of course, of high-profile chief executive Marissa Mayer.
Well, the Wall Street Journal says that board members have been considering today whether or not to proceed with an existing plan to spin off more than $30 billion worth of Yahoo's shares in the Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba, or whether it should sell everything. This from our reporter, Kiri Blenkinsop.
The original internet icon, conceived when the World Wide Web was in its infancy. Yahoo opened up the world to anyone with a keyboard and a connection. It pioneered the search engine, but eventually succumbed to those who followed, eclipsed by Google. Now the troubled web portal is said to be chewing over a decision to ditch its core internet business. Analysts say popular services like Yahoo Mail and its news and sports sites could attract private equity firms or media and telecom companies. The future of Yahoo's CEO, Marissa Mayer, is also being weighed. Mayer came to the company after a long stint at Google. She was trumpeted as the one to deliver Yahoo a much-needed turnaround after it struggled to grow its advertising business to compete with market leaders Google and Facebook. But those hopes began to fade when one of her key strategies failed to increase revenues while desktop search ads continued to decline. Mayer hit another snag with the billion-dollar-plus purchase of social blogging site Tumblr, investors arguing she'd overpaid for an unprofitable product. Yahoo's board is expected to meet this week and discuss cutting loose its internet business and whether to proceed with a plan to spin off more than $30 billion in shares of Alibaba. The Wall Street Journal says both options are on the table. Kiri Blenkinsop for TRT World.
Well, let's come back to tech industry watcher Kevin Poulter here. It's pretty interesting development, right, for Yahoo. What are you making of it?
Well, the fact that there's a meeting is nothing surprising. It's an annual meeting. Of course, there's going to be executives there. Of course, they're going to be discussing the future, but also what's happened so far. So, yeah, there are some interesting initiatives. The Alibaba story, well, we knew about that about a year ago, if not just over. It's been in the course of the motions for a long, long time. Have been some developments. They've tried to get permission from the IRS to allow it to be done tax-free. They've said no, certainly not given any prior approval. So what happens now is down to the lawyers and down to the bankers, but we'll see what happens there. And as for the core business, well, we're perhaps not surprised by that.
But looking at the business as a whole, its market capitalisation is roughly the same value as its Alibaba shares, which suggests its core internet business is worth absolutely nothing. So are they trying to sell it off to crystallise its actual value as opposed to the value of its Alibaba shares?
Well, quite possibly, but the Alibaba shares were 30% more than in January than they are now. So things are fluctuating all the time. We had Marissa Mayer come in about 3 years ago to try and turn around the strengths of Yahoo and build upon what the foundation had already had. It seems to me that that's not actually worked out as well as they hoped. There might still be things further down the line in the pipeline. There have been previously flawed initiatives and attempts to join up with perhaps Microsoft in the past. We've seen what happened with AOL and Verizon earlier in the year. Whether there's another mobile operator out there prepared to come in, we'll have to wait and see. But I think there's going to be a lot of interesting talk at this meeting, and it's a decision to be made. What will Yahoo be without its core business?
Absolutely. I mean, what if we sort of make that comparison between Yahoo and the newer models, Apple, Facebook? Would you say that they're stronger models, these new up-and-coming kids on the block, should we say?
Well, whether they're that new and up-and-coming anymore, I don't know, but I think they're probably well established. But they've diversified. Look at Google, it's got its car. Amazon developing any number of different things. The TV platform, similarly with Apple, moving into the music. It's diversified early. It's moved into many different areas. And Yahoo, it's tried. It took on Tumblr, $1.1 billion this year. It's trying, but it might be a case of too little, too late.
Okay. Kevin Poulter, thank you very much for your thoughts today.